Pterodactyl here, and today I'm going to go over Taryl's personal equipment. I'm going to show y'all my personal lawn equipment that I own and the stories behind them. And we're going to start here with this tractor here that I personally own, and you may know it as Snowzilla. That's what we call it. This is a 1979 Aaron's GT16. And this has got a 16 horse single cylinder Crawler K-series engine. This is a shaft drive tractor, hydrostatic shaft drive. Now, I got this tractor from a customer who wanted to get rid of this, and he had another one too, which happens to be here at the shop. I bought both tractors. They had mower decks. One had a rear tiller attachment, and it had the snow blade. He had all the paperwork on it too, and what they paid for it and everything. So I sold the tiller because I didn't need that, and I got rid of the mower deck. I just kept the blade because we use this tractor not as much as we used to, but we used to use this a lot around the shop. I haven't used it in a couple of years. We've used it in videos. But I just used it for pushing snow, and we used to use it for like a tow vehicle, for pushing tractors into the shop or towing tractors. So what I did is I put ATV tires on the back and weight. I had tire chains on it originally, but them tire chains, you know, they're kind of lumpy, but I needed the chains, you know, for traction in the snow. So I had a set of ATV tires that I had bought off of somebody brand new for like a big ATV, a big big quad. So I put them on the back, and man, this thing's got traction with them ATV tires. I never had to use them chains again. I thought I'll try it and see, and if it don't work, then I'll put chains back on, but it don't get stuck. And then I put tires on the front. Those are for our snowblower. So I have a little traction in the front. And of course I got wheel weights on it. And then on the back, if the cameraman can get back here. Love you. I've got this. Now this was on there. The person I got this from had made this. The only thing I did is I welded all this weight on it. Because you can operate the back here for, like, if you had the tiller on there, you can make and raise and lower the tiller. But they had made this for something, I don't know what they made it for, but I kept it on there. And then that's what we would use to tow tractors with. We could hook to this and we could tow them into the shop, and we could raise this platform. So we could, it was almost like a tow truck. We could pick up a tractor with this. Because there's a lever on the side, and you change this lever and it'll change the front and the back, so you can raise and lower, and you do that from here. See the hydraulic lift? So this lever on the side, if I move it to the back, when I move this lever, it'll raise and lower this platform back here. And then if I move it to the front, it'll raise and lower the blade. And I didn't pay much for this tractor, but I sold all those attachments and made money on that. And then I put a little bit of work into this. I put that Harley Davidson bumpkin on there. And then this is so you can turn the blade left and right. Turn this, and then you pull on this or push on it, and you can change the angle of the blade. And then I put my Power Rangers helmet on there. And there's lights. This lights up. So this is mine, my 1979 GT16 Aaron's tractor. It's a strong running tractor. This tractor used to be mine too with that other one. This is an S12H, which is a 12 horse with a snowblower on it. This came from that same person. I bought both them tractors. But I sold this to a customer, and it just so happened to be here when we did this filming. He just brought it back to have some work done to it. But this was mine too. I sold that tractor with the snowblower on it for $600. This is another one of my tractors. This is my leaf tractor. This is the one I take to my house to do my leaves with in the fall. This is another Aaron's. This is a 1985 HT18. It's Deere driven. It's not a hydrostat. This came into the shop. Guy wanted to get rid of it, so I bought it. Because it's got this big bagger on the back with this helper blower that got its own belt that runs to it. It's got a 60-inch deck on it. I used to have a track back. I didn't like it because I had to keep stopping and starting that engine on that track back and pulling that big wagon behind me. So when the guy brought this in and wanted to sell it, I bought it. I thought, I'll get rid of that track back and I'll use this for picking up my leaves. I put these big ag tires on it because I dump my leaves in the woods at my house. I don't burn them. It takes too long. And then I put rib tires on the front. And I also rigged up this John Deere lawn scratcher. And I rigged up a lever. This is a lever off an MTD tractor. That's how I raise and lower this with this cable. This cable hooks into this lever. I can raise and lower that scratcher because I got a lot of acorns. So this helps to flick those acorns up. Then I run over it with the mower deck and suck up them acorns and put it in the bag. Now this is powered by a Briggs opposed twin. I didn't like the electrical system on this tractor. I didn't like the electrical system and the safeties and stuff it had. It was kind of troublesome. So I ripped all the wires out and I rewired it with the wiring from a Murray lawn tractor. So it's got all the safeties, everything works. You got to push the brake down to start it. And if you fall off the seat, it'll kill the motor. But what I had to do is rig up this lever. Before it had a neutral switch, so if it wasn't in neutral, it wouldn't start. But when I rewired it with the Murray, I had to make a brake thing. So you put that over and that locks the clutch down. Because when the clutch is out, it won't start unless you got the clutch down. So if I want to get off the tractor and keep it running, I have to lock that in. So this thing's got a lot of levers and knobs. It's kind of cool. You got to shift it. You got a choke knob. You got lights. This is for the lights that are on the rear. If you turn it to here, this is the headlights. There's a 3-position switch here. This is start. You turn it to there and it turns the headlights on, and then you turn it off because that's how a Murray is. This light switch is for 2 lights I got rigged up on the back. And then this is how you engage the mower deck and this blower. There's also a lever back here. You might not be able to see it right here. If I engage this lever, when I engage the mower deck, it bypasses this, so it won't turn this on. So in case you wanted to take the chute off the deck and you didn't want the blower to run, you just wanted to side chute the grass, that's what this is for. This will keep this blower from engaging when you engage the mower deck. So that was a pretty cool option. And this bag holds quite a bit. So it's nice. When I'm picking up leaves and I'm riding on this thing and I'm sucking up the leaves, I just take my hand back here and pat the bag. And I can feel how full it's getting. And then when it's full, I go, oh, it's full. Time to go dump it. And it's just got two big zippers on the back. You unzip it, empty out the leaves, zip it back up, and away you go. Now let me show you them lights I got on the back. So you're probably wondering, well, why do you need lights on the back, Taryl? Well, in the fall, over here in the Midwest, it gets dark early. Sometimes it gets dark at 4:30, 5 o'clock. And I'm still out there picking up leaves because that's still early. So when I go out in my woods and have to dump this bag, I can't see back there. So I pull that knob, turn these lights on, and then I can see, and I can move them, you know. I can turn them, point them wherever I want. So I found that after I used this for a while, it's like, man, it'd be nice to have some lights back there. So I rigged up these lights. So this is my 1985 Aaron's HT18. Just use it for leaves. I don't cut grass with it. I just use it for leaves. Check this out. This is mine also. This is my McCullough 510E. And for those of you that know about chainsaws, you know what this is. But for those of you who don't, this is an electric start chainsaw. That's right, electric start. That's what the E stands for. I believe they only made it for 1 year. And they made like 3 or 4 models that were all electric start. This is how you would make the electric start work. You push this down. And it would boop, 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 boop. And then that's how you'd kill it. This saw came in for repair. I didn't know what it was. I just tagged it and put it on the shelf. My friend Mark came by, who's a chainsaw collector, and he saw it on the shelf. He goes, you know what you got there? I said, yeah, some old chainsaw, some old McCullough chainsaw some guy brought in. He goes, that's an electric start chainsaw. I go, get out of here. He goes, no, really, it's an electric start chainsaw. And he showed it, and I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. He goes, you got to see if you can get it from the guy. So I got a hold of the customer, and I asked him, I said, are you going to do anything with that saw? Do you want to get rid of that saw? And he says, yeah, I was going to get it fixed. I really don't use it. So I bought it off of him. It's got a 2-foot bar on it. I believe it was made around 1967. Now, if you notice, the battery pack is out of it right now. I had a battery pack for it. I went to that place called Batteries Plus, but now it's called Batteries and Bulbs. And they built me a battery pack for it. Now, these are NiCad batteries. It worked. It would crank it over, but it would never start it when it was cold. It just couldn't spin it fast enough. When it was warmed up, you could hit the button and it would start it. If I hooked a tractor battery to it, a lawn and garden battery, it would start it cold because it could spin it fast enough. So I took it apart a couple years ago, and I was going to see about retrofitting some lithium batteries to it, because lithium batteries got more power, more oomph. See if I could get it to go faster, but I never got around to doing it. But here's the OEM jack for plugging the charger in. And they even sold me the charger too at Batteries Plus. So I took it apart and was going to do that and never got around to doing it. It's kind of more of like a novelty. I mean, it runs, but I've never really used it to cut any trees or nothing. I got some other chainsaws I use for that. But I liked it because it was cool and it's rare. Electric start chainsaw. Isn't that something? They should bring them back. Well, now they're battery powered chainsaws, so they're all electric start if they're battery. We'll call it 510E. See, it even says electric start. I'm sure I would have figured it out once I pulled it off the shelf to get it running for the guy. I'm sure I would have went, oh, what's this electric start on here? Here we are in my shed. You're probably thinking, wow, that's a pretty nice shed, Taryl. Well, it's like a one-car garage, but I call it a shed. Is this where I keep my lawn equipment? Slippers has got all his bikes in here, storing them. So this is my John Deere F525. And let me tell you the story on this tractor, or this mower. It's a front mount mower. Customer of mine called me and said, Taryl, hey, there's a John Deere tractor. There's somebody's throwing away. It's by the road and it's got a sign on it that says free. And I'm like, really? So I sent Junior and Donnie over to pick this up. And this is what they picked up. But of course it didn't look like this when I got it. And it didn't have this tractor trunk on it. So I got this thing, I said, well, wow, look at that front mount, 48-inch front mount mower. Wow, pretty cool. So I got it, threw it in the junkyard area, and it sat there for a couple years. I had a 318, John Deere 318, that Carla used. That's right, I said Carla. That was Carla's mower, that 318. Then I got that Taryl time cutter. Again, somebody came in the shop and they said, you know, I had nothing but trouble with this mower. I just want to get rid of it. I go, really? What's wrong with it? I don't know. We've had nothing but trouble with this thing since the day we got it. I said, all right, well, it looks in nice shape. What do you want for it? Does it run? No, it don't run. It's got a problem, some problem. So I said, okay. What do you want? Give me 500 bucks. It's got a brand new battery in it too. I said, I'll give you 500 bucks. Pulled it in the shop. This has got that Crawler Command single on it. Had that common problem they all have over time. Leaky needle and seat. It was hydro-locked. Bunch of gas built up in the head, like it was locked up. Pulled the carburetor off, put a carb kit in it, sharpened the blades, changed the oil. About 2 hours I think I worked on it. I had this thing running. I thought, wow, this is nice. This is a nice tractor for 500 bucks. It's about an 02 or 04, I can't remember, but it's either an 02 or an 04, 52-inch deck. So I brought it home. And I said, Carla, this is our new mower. And she tried to drive it, and she couldn't get used to the sticks. And I tried to tell her, I go, it's like pushing a shopping cart, honey. When you want to go this way, you push with this hand like a shopping cart. She couldn't get the hang of it, got real frustrated and said, you know what? If you keep that lawnmower and get rid of that 318, you're cutting the grass. I'm like, great. So what am I going to do, get rid of this? So I don't cut the grass, believe this or not. I don't cut my own grass. So then Junior, I said, Junior, you got to cut the grass. He goes, I hate that 318. That thing is slow and big and got to make big sweeps to get around the trees. I like this Taryl. I like this zero turn. I'm like, all right. So what am I going to do? Keep two tractors now? I'm going to keep a 318 and I'm going to have this zero turn? Otherwise, I'm going to be cutting the grass myself. So Carla says, don't you got like a different kind of zero turn? Don't they make a zero turn with a steering wheel on it? And I go, you know what? I've got something like a zero turn at the shop. So now we come back to the F525. I said, yeah, it's got a single wheel in the back and it's like a zero turn. And the mower's out in front. So I drug this thing in the shop and got it running. Now, I think the reason the people threw it away is it had an electrical problem. And it was probably real expensive to have John Deere fix it. So they decided to just throw it away. So what it was is the blades. When you would kick the blades on with the electric PTO, sometimes they would come on, sometimes they wouldn't. Sometimes you could mow the whole lawn and the blades would be on. Sometimes you'd go to pull the clutch, no blades. Pulling the button. So I had an electrical problem. And what it was is, you can see down here, there's where the fuses are. And there's some relays in that. Well, down in there are two diodes that are wired into the wiring. And one of them diodes wasn't getting a good connection. Because I found if I went down here and wiggled on these wires, I can get the blades to kick on. So every time I couldn't get the blades to work, I'd have to wiggle them wires and they'd start working. And it was a diode. Because the diodes weren't soldered in, they were kind of crimped in. You know, they were crimped to the wires, they weren't soldered to it. So that's what it was. That's the problem with it. And then the blades worked ever since. So some of the plastic was cracked and busted, like this fender. I had to buy that from Deere. And there was some shields and stuff on the deck missing, and it needed some pulleys, and you know, so it wasn't just the electrical problem, it had some other issues. So I think it was about 350 bucks in John Deere parts I had to buy to get it going. And then I fixed this. This was all cracked and busted, and I fixed it and kind of painted it up some, made it look a lot better. And then I brought it home, and oh, this was on the 318, this tractor truck. And again, the 318 I traded a 42-inch Craftsman for the 318, but that needed a lot of work too. The 318, I had that thing running perfect, tuned it all up and everything. I went to go park it, and all of a sudden I hear boom! I'm like, what the heck is that? And it lost power on one side. Threw a rod on that owning. Pulled that thing all apart. That 318, it was old, good tractor, but had a lot of problems with that owning. Valve seat came out. Cam, had a problem with the cam, with the governor on the cam. Fuel pump, voltage regulator, threw a rod. Lost spark. That electronic ignition. Oh, it was just, every time I turned around I was working on that 318. It would have been better for me to repower that 318. It would have been cheaper if I would have just took that owning off and bought one of those Vanguard or Honda V-twin repower kits to put on there. Then everything's easy to get at. The oil filter's easy to get at, the starter, everything. And plenty of power. That's what I should have done. But I sold it. I sold the 318 and brought this home. And I said, here, try this, Carla. And if you like it, we'll keep it, get rid of 318. If you don't like it, I'll sell this. And we'll just keep the 318. So she likes it. So this is her mower. She likes the 525, see? And she likes to also have a little beverage once in a while she's mowing the grass, if you know what I mean. So there's my two mowers. And then you may have seen these. These are lawn equipment, but these are mine. Early 80s. These are both 200s. This is a M, 200M. This is a 200S. So M is for medium, S is for small. Again, I got these. I did some work for a guy. First I worked on this one for the guy. And got it running and working. He used it for hunting and fishing. Then he got this. And it was, of course, didn't run. So I got it all running, fixed it all up for him, because it had the rack on it. And he said, what do you want for fixing it, Taryl? And I said, you know, I named him a price, I forget what it was. And he said, how about this? I'll either pay you the cash or I'll give you the 200S. And I said, well, I really like that 200S because I could ride a wheelie on it for a long time. I said, all right, give me the 200S. So he gave me the 200S. A couple years later, he gets a big Polaris 2-stroke 4-wheel drive 4-wheeler. And he says, there's something wrong with the trans, it's locked in gear. I got it for free. Because the guy said there's something wrong with the trans. Can you fix it? I said, yeah, I can fix it. So I fixed it and got it running and tuned it all up and everything. That thing was neat with that 4-wheel drive 2-stroke. And he goes, what do you want? So I told him the price. He goes, how about this? We'll do the same thing we did with the other one. I'll either pay you that money or I'll give you that 200M. I said, give me the 200M. So that's how I got these. Wheeling and dealing. Now here's my snowblower. This is my Taryl. This is the Snow Commander. I love this thing. They quit making these. I don't know why. I guess they didn't sell enough of them. But I like this. This is really a nice snowblower. It's big, 24-inch. It's a paddle type. And it's got 3 paddles on it. Now I'm going to tell you a little story about single stage over 2-stage. I had an Aaron's 2-stage snowblower. And I thought, man, I'm the king of the neighborhood. I got this BA Aaron's 2-stage snowblower. Man, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to show my neighbors I'm blowing snow. My neighbor across the street, his driveway's twice as long as mine. I'm out there. I'm blowing snow. I got about half of mine done. All of a sudden, his garage door opens. He comes out, not with a Snow Commander, but I think it was a CCR 2000 paddle snowblower. And I'm like, huh, look at him out there with that rubber paddle snowblower. He goes up and down the driveway, cleared his whole drive, back in the house, closing the door. I'm still out there with that 2-stage. Monday, this is when I was working for my brother Farrell. Monday when I went to work, I took that 2-stage back with me. I said, you know what? I want one of them Snow Commanders. I don't want a CCR. I want the baddest. And this was the baddest one at the time. I want one of them Snow Commanders. Farrell goes, I got a commercial guy. Every year he trades in his old Snow Commanders for new ones. Just give me what I give him on a trade-in for that. So I sold the 2-stage at Farrell's shop and then paid him the difference and got this Snow Commander. I like this thing. So that's my little story on paddle over a 2-stage. This thing doesn't clog up. It throws wet snow because it's got them 3 paddles on it. And it's a lot faster. I mean, you can get that snow blowed a lot faster. I know a lot of y'all like your 2-stage, that's fine. But for me, it's about time and getting it done. I don't want to be out there messing around, you know. And then I'm pushing that thing even though it had tires on it and chains. I had chains on that 2-stage. And blowing it. And then if you tried to feed it too fast, you know, you had to go into a lower gear on that 2-stage, you know, because it couldn't take in all the snow at once, you know. It would bog it down if you tried to go too fast. So then I had to go real slow to blow the snow. And here my neighbor's out there with one of them rubber paddle ones. Zippity zap, zip zoo, back and forth, back in the house. So I got the 2-stage. And then my brother-in-law, I got him one of these. And he loves it too. He even, to this day, he goes, man, I love that Snow Commander. He goes, I like that snowblower. So that's the story on my Snow Commander. And here's my generator. I got a generator because power goes out. And let me tell you the story on the generator. I got a transfer switch and all that stuff in my house, so I can wheel this thing right up to the back of my house. There's a box on the wall. I pull out the cord, plug it into the generator, fire it up, go in the house and flip the switches on the transfer switch, and it transfers the power from the house to the switch. You know, there's the line, which is the house power, then there's a neutral, and then there's generator. So we had power go out a bunch. I had some Coleman generator. Loud. About a 3,000 or 4,000, maybe even a 5,000 watt Coleman. Loud. Briggs engine, real loud. And I'm like, you know what, I'm getting rid of this thing. I need something quieter and bigger. So again, called my brother Farrell, and I said, what do you got in generators? He goes, I got this. It's electric start, it's got everything on it. I said, all right, what do you want for it? I'll just give it to you for my cost, just to get rid of it. So I bought it off him for cost. I have never used this since. This thing has no oil or gas in it. It's brand new. That's what you want to do with a generator if you're using it for emergency power. Put gas and oil in it when the power goes out. So that's what I did with this one. It's brand new. It's a little dirty from sitting out here. Because if I would have put gas in it, when the power does go out, it ain't going to run because the carburetor's going to be all gummed up. The best generator to have is one of them whole house ones that run off natural gas or propane. Then all you got to do is when you're sitting in the house, power goes off, and go, oh, let me count to 10 and the power will go on. I ain't even got to get out of my chair. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Boom, power's on. That's next. I'll get that next. But I got this for now. So there's my generator. All right, what else? Moving on. Oh, chainsaws. There's a couple of chainsaws. So I'm a Makita Domar salesman. So my Domar dealer, back in the day when I first started selling these, they had a bunch of these on a blowout. They bought them and didn't realize what they were buying because they got the heated hand grip. So these are more for like Alaska, Canada, Pacific Northwest, not here in the Midwest. So they had a sale on them. They were blowing them out cheap, so I bought one. This is probably the only piece of equipment I have that's brand new, well, other than that generator that I bought. So this is a Domar 5100S with the heated hand grip. Never used it because I don't need to use it. I don't cut a lot of wood. 20 inch, got a 20 inch bar, gotta have a 20 inch chainsaw. But this is the saw I use the most. My Stihl 021. See, it says mine on it because it's mine. Some guy came in, 16 inch bar. Some guy came in the shop, wanted to sell it. Old guy. Says, I don't cut wood anymore. I'm old. I don't need it. What do you give me for it, Taryl? I said, I'll give you $100. Okay, sold. So I bought this for $100. Like I said, this is what I use the most. I use this saw the most. I only use that 20 inch in case I gotta cut something real big in diameter. I cut it up with that, put it back, grab the 16. All right, now let's move over here to my other stuff. Echo leaf blower, PV200. Got a customer that does fertilizing. You might have seen the video where we did the repower on that power spreader. He uses a blower to blow the driveway off because sometimes when they spread fertilizer, all the little pellets are on people's driveways and they don't like that, so they like to blow it off. He bought this from my brother Farrell. I got it for him because he needed a blower. Come to me a year later and says, Taryl, do they make a 4-cycle, a 4-stroke blower? Because it's kind of a pain to have a separate gas can we got to have that's got mixed fuel in it. Then we run out of gas, then we got to stop and mix it. Be a lot simpler and easier if we had a 4-stroke blower. Then all we got to do is just keep the regular straight gas. That'll work in all our stuff. I said, Domar's got a 4-stroke blower, because I was going to take one of them blowers for myself. He goes, well, I just bought that blower from you last year. I said, I'll take it on trade for one of them Domar ones. So that's what I did. I sold I think 3 of those blowers he bought for him and his guys to blow the driveways off. Loves them, loves those blowers. Start easy, they're 4-stroke. All I gotta do is pour regular gas in. They bring them in once a year. I change the oil on them for them. Put a new air cleaner in them, spark plug. So I got that. That's how I got that. Got it on trade. Now here's another tool I use a lot. Because I got trees. I got a wood lot. And that's my Echo pole saw. Power pruner. Had a grass cutting guy, landscape guy. Bought this thing to use on a couple of jobs. Used it a couple of times and then never used it again. Just sat. So he wanted to get rid of it. And I said, man, I got a lot of trees. I could use one of these. So I said, what do you want for it? He goes, well, you can either buy it off me, or we could do some kind of trade. So since I'm fixing his equipment all the time, he had those walker mowers. I don't know if you ever seen any videos we did on any of them walkers, but he had them walker mowers. So he had a bill built up. I forget how much. I think it was like $300 and some. And I said, well, you can either pay the bill or give me that pole saw. So he said, I'll just give you that pole saw. I said, all right. So I use this thing a lot. I like this thing. I've used the Stihl pole saw, and I use this Echo one, and I like the Echo over the Stihl. Now my little knob here for this extension broke. I got the parts to fix it. They're here at the house. I just gotta put it on. All right, moving on. Here's my Homelite brush cutter. I forget where I even got this. Somebody might have brought this in or just gave it to me. I think it might have been set up as a weed eater. And I put the blade on it because it was straight shaft. I'm pretty sure that's what I did. This is a good little unit. It's, older Homelite. It always runs, it always starts. I added this handle because when I put the blade on it, you want a little more, in case you hit something. Because I got woods out here, and sometimes them woods creep in, where the grass ends and the woods start. Sometimes that stuff creeps in, so I got to use this. So yeah, I think I put this, I found this part. I think Farrell had it, my brother Farrell had some new old stock. These, you can see how it's missing that chunk of that blade? Let me tell you the story about that. I had some old fence posts, metal fence posts, and I forgot they were out there. And I'm out there clearing that stuff back, and I hit one of those metal fence posts, and that piece of that steel busted off of there and hit me right in the wrist. And I didn't even know it, didn't even feel it. And I'm cutting, and all of a sudden I look, and there's all this blood coming out of my wrist. And I'm like, what the heck? And I go like that, and I go, there's something in there. And I pulled it out, and it was that piece of steel. And then the blood really started coming out. And I'm like, oh, that ain't good. So yeah, gotta be careful. I ripped them fence posts out. I'm like, oh man, I forgot I got them fence posts out there. Well, all the trees and vines and stuff grew around it. But yeah, this is a good little tool, old. I think the only thing I had to do to this, replace the fuel lines, and I put a carb kit in it. It's been good. I got one of these backs, Craftsman. My mother-in-law and father-in-law bought me this as a housewarming gift back in 1997 after I built my house. they bought me this. So it was a blower and a vac. So you had to keep swapping it back and forth. So when I got that Echo blower, I just set this up totally as a vac. So that way I got a blower and I got a vac. And this thing, let me tell you, this isn't easy to work on because everything's encased, but I put a lot of work into this thing. I've had to fix that recoil before, take it all apart. I don't know, this is probably the second tube I had to put on it, that fan that's under there. I know I wore one of them out. Oh, this is probably the third bag. Look, it's a Homelite bag I made work on there. I think I already went through 2 of them Sears bags, Craftsman bags. I believe this was made by Poulon. But hey, it still works. I mean, I wouldn't work on one of them if somebody brought one into my shop because it costs too much, but since I own a shop and, you know, it's mine, I'll fix it. And here's my Stihl weed eater. This is pretty new. FS40C. So a lady brought this in. Common problem with these is the head falls off. This bearing up here and the retainer and all that, they fail and it falls off. And you can't buy the part to fix it. I think we did a video on this maybe, or I mentioned it somewhere. The only way to fix it is you gotta buy a whole new tube for it. And she had wore the head out too. The head was wore out. So I said, well, you need that shaft and you need the head and then the labor to do it. So I worked up a bill for it and I said, this is what it's gonna cost. And she goes, I didn't pay much more than that for it. So you know what? Taryl, if you want it, you can have it. I'll just go buy another weed eater. You could just have it. I said, all right. So I ordered a new shaft for it, put a new head on it, and now it's mine. Because it ran. So yeah, that's how you get a lot of this stuff. Some people just don't want it, or want, you know, they don't want to spend the money. Some will go, you know what, I'll spend the money because I like it. And other people go, you know what, yeah, lasted a few years, a few bucks more, I'll just go buy me another new one. I think she went back and bought a better one. Because I told her, yeah, that's a problem, they fall off. And she says, well, do they make a better one? And I said, yeah, they make better ones. Go to the Stihl dealer and see. So I think that's what she did. She just went and spent a little bit more money and got a better one. All right, here's my Ryobi edger. Because I got a couple of sidewalks here. You know, one in front of my house and one behind it, so sometimes I edge it. So I got this when I was working at my brother Farrell's shop. Customer came in and he wanted this fixed. And my brother Farrell only deals with commercial stuff. And he only works on stuff he sells. And he sells Echo and Stihl, and I don't know if he sells them anymore, but he used to sell Mariama and Red Max, and he sold a bunch of different lines. So people would bring all this Ryobi stuff and box store MTD stuff in, and I said, I'm sorry, sir, but we don't work on these, you know. We only work on Stihl and Echo and that, so we don't work on it. You'll have to take it to another shop. And the guy goes, yeah, here, you can have it. I said, all right. So I took it, and then I just took it home and fixed it. Put new fuel lines and new carburetor kit and stuff in it. I don't use it a lot, but it comes in handy. I use it. Hey, got it for free. The guy didn't want it. And my brother wouldn't work on it. Well, now you got to see all my personal lawn equipment and the equipment that I use and how I obtained it. So if you like this channel, subscribe, Taryl Fixes All. Follow me. Follow me with your chainsaws and your weed eaters and your lawnmowers. Chase me, rather. Chase me with your weed eaters. Go to our web store, buy some Taryl apparel. Look, I'm wearing a Blade Man and Throttle shirt. Blade Man and Throttle, I love them guys, man. They're great. And then, as always, there's your dinner. Woo! Taryl's personal lawn equipment, the stuff I have. I was going to say use, but I don't use a lot of it. I use all the handheld stuff. I just don't cut the grass.